Hello everybody, I'm Anca Luca. I'm a master's student at the Faculty of Computer Science in Iași, Romania, and I want to present you the PSW script. What we wanted to do is to make the semantic web relevant to users by allowing them to search for values of properties for objects on the web, like the RDF triples. But then when retrieving and reusing the results of the search, we wanted to make sure that the users preserve the semantic of the data in the content they create on the web. So what we created is a Semantic Web search tool that allows the user to query the semantic web in a natural language-like interface, and then when they reuse the results in the pages they create, we wrap up the results in microformats so that we keep the semantics. Naturally, we looked at the browsers and implemented this search tool on top of Firefox and Ubiquiti. Ubiquiti is a Firefox add-on which aims to provide web services in natural language. So what it does, it provides this command line where users would insert natural language commands, get the results from a web service, and interact with the page they view. PSW is such a script which provides the find command so that we can write find page of Linux, for example. The results are searched in open link data repositories. By default is DBpedia, but we also have DBLP and MoviesDB. So we can write something like find author of internet in DBLP. As I said earlier, we're querying for RDF triples. Author is the property whose value we want to find out, and internet is the subject. The subject is matched against a so-called property name and the resource is identified. Then, the queried property has a mapping which defines an RDF property for it. For author, for example, is DC creator. So basically what's happening here is that the DC creator property is evaluated for all the resources which have something like internet in their name. The result of this query is printed in the preview panel. But what happens is that users also want to use something like find works of Berners-Lee in DBLP. In this case, works is still the DC creator property, but what we want to find out is its subject with respect to the Berners-Lee as a predicate. So we also have support for these reverse properties. Notice that while I've been talking a lot about RDF, Sparkle, repositories and everything, all the user did was to insert very natural language commands. For example, I can write whatever crosses my mind, such as birth date of David Bowie. What if now I wanted to use this result in a web page that I'm editing, for example, my blog? I'd go to my blog, I'd hit the new post button, then go to the rich text area editing, and I'd write something like David Bowie and then his birth date. So I open the command, I get the result, I hit enter, and I get it in the page inserted here. What's even cooler is if I try to see the preview to see what the final result would be, I also notice the date and in the operator extension which detects microformats, an event, because the birth date was inserted in the page as an H calendar. This is happening because birth date is a predefined property and we know it's semantic, so whenever it's retrieved, we know to format it with an H calendar microformat. Now what we've seen so far are predefined properties, but we can also find out some more exotic stuff, like the license of XWiki, for example. And we do get the result because what happens in this case, when the property is not a predefined one, is that the script tries to match the name of the property as inserted by the user with a default namespace somewhere in the repository. And indeed, DBpedia has a property named license. So because of this, I can try my luck and just say whatever crosses my mind, like the developer of Mozilla Firefox. And I do get quite nice results. Notice now please how nice natural language commands we're issuing and how precise responses we're getting because we're querying semantic repositories. Now if I hit enter right now, I have my result inserted in the page. If I go to the preview though, to see the final generated HTML, I don't have any microformat. This is happening because if the property is not known by the system, it doesn't know how to format it and exit. So what I have to do is just drop this little hint here as person to tell the script that I want this property to be formatted as an hcard. I hit enter, I go to preview, and indeed now I have the Mozilla Corporation hcard. Now what we can do more, because of ubiquity, we can type this kind of stuff here, like TechCrunch, we select it, and then we say find launch date of this. I get the result, and now I want it inserted as a date. I hit enter, I have it inserted here. I go to preview, and indeed the micro format is here. Now what's even cooler is that this microformats thing also works in HTML. If I say now, for example, find launch date of Google, I'm gonna get the result. I'm gonna select my result here, say as date, get the result, hit enter, and I have it indeed inserted as HTML, hoping that it would be understood. Now, fortunately, Blogger indeed understands this, and if we look at the preview, we have it here. Now, how would a regular user find this kind of stuff? How would he know the properties he's looking for? Let's say someone would want to find out the page of Eric Clapton. He's gonna type this, he's gonna wait for the info, and he's gonna get almost irrelevant results because these links are the Wikipedia links. This is happening because page is the fourth page property. So now our user is not going to like the results, he's gonna use his intuition and say he wants the website of Eric Clapton. Website is not a predefined property, is searched as a custom property. And the results are none. And then our user would just try to use his intuition further and say URL this time. Oh, he gets a URL, he's very happy, he says he wants it as a link, finds it, hits enter, and now we have a nice link inserted here. If we go to the preview page to see the HTML, we also see that we have a bookmark detected by the operator extension because the link was inserted as an Xfolk microformat. For further improvement, it would be nice if I could define repositories where to look for data, or better, discover them, because as a user, I don't need to know technical details in order to be able to fetch data from a new source. Or when I looked for director of Closer, for example, and I find Mike Nichols, for example, as a result, it would be nice, since director is not a predefined property, it would be nice to be able to detect automatically what this property is about, and that it's a person, and I want it inserted as a person. And further, when I insert it as a person, it would be cool to actually fetch the whole data about Mike Nichols, not only his name, and when I insert it in the page, a complete microformat would be created. Thank you for watching this demo. If you have further questions, you can find me by email, or you can find out more information about the PSW script on my page at the university, or you can find me on my blog, my LinkedIn, and my Twitter. Thanks again for your attention, and have a nice day, everyone.